do it immediately, start immediately. Starting now and failing a lot and learning will give you a much better deal than not starting at all and waiting for the perfect timing. When is the best time to become an entrepreneur? And I always say yesterday. Starting does not necessarily mean that you have to be perfect at it. Always make sure you are a person who people can count on, you're always showing up, and prioritize giving value first.
Elaborate on why innovation is so important.
Innovation, it's quite misunderstood. People still think that innovation is coming up with something brand new or something that was never done before. They see it as this binary outcome and this mutually exclusive event that either you are an entrepreneur or you're working a 9-to-5 career.
Are you feeling good? Shall we start? Hi everyone, my name is Tulin. I'm Digital Content Officer here at Warwick Enterprise. Thank you for being here at Adhurim. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Adhurim Doci. I'm an Innovation Fellow and the founder of Mapogos Capital, and I study finance at Warwick Business School.
So you still have 1 more year to go.
1 more year to go.
But you're already a funder of your own businesses. How exciting. How do you balance your student commitment and your own startup?
To be honest, through process of iteration, I failed a lot in managing and balancing the life as a student. As an entrepreneur, you always got to prioritize providing values to the client first. It's kind of the responsibility that you sign for. However, over time, I've developed a certain mechanism that works with me. And I've realized that there is no escaping from trading off and sacrificing certain things. So the 4 a.m. wake-ups, as you know, probably the solution to most of the things to find a bit more time.
So I'm very curious, could you please talk about how did you find out about Warwick Enterprise and why did you want to become an Innovation Fellow?
I came across Warwick Innovation Fellow as a position on LinkedIn, and Warwick Innovation District was one of my main reasons why I applied to Warwick Business School as well. I have a special appreciation for innovation, and that was taught to me by my mentor. Actually, statistically, innovation has been one of the least discussed topics on the board of listed companies. So it's quite of a valuable trait and expertise to have.
Could you please elaborate on why innovation is so important and why we should kind of talk about it more often?
I think innovation, it's quite misunderstood. I do believe that people still think that innovation is coming up with something brand new or something that was never done before. However, implementing innovation into companies, I've seen it that it's more of a case of iterating these mechanisms, trying to adapt them with new features, trying to come up with something better rather than brand new. And I do believe that it's a big driver, a big catalyst when it comes to value creation.
It doesn't have to be a disruptive, innovative thing in the world, but we need to embrace innovation and contribute our bits and take it step by step. As you said, just making things better. For those who are curious about Warwick Innovation Fellow experience, could you please tell us about your experience here?
It's been a great experience so far. I've had the chance to meet great people, really smart individuals, also give back to the community in the sense that I'm trying to bring as much experience and knowledge I have at Mapogos Capital and trying to teach that, or at least showcase how we can synchronize the theoretical learnings that is been taught to us at the university with the practical world and the implementation. So definitely trying to integrate that spirit of entrepreneurship within the student community at Warwick has been nothing less but a great experience.
I'm glad that you're enjoying your experience here. I know you've been supporting other student and graduate businesses with our startup coach. Could you please tell us about your responsibility in this project?
It has been a rewarding experience so far. I think I've learned a lot. Definitely the biggest theme has been the challenge to persuade students that, first of all, they have the wrong interpretation of what entrepreneurship might be. They see it as this binary outcome, and they see it as a mutually exclusive event from having a 9 to 5 career. So the new project that's coming up, it's the graduate program that I'm working personally with Alex, which is the startup coach. We are essentially going to help students, take them through a journey of mentorships and workshops from the ideation process to launching a startup. I'm really looking forward to helping them one-to-one and essentially trying to give them as many skills, equip them with as much experience as I can so they are ready to launch their ventures.
I want to ask, is there any time you faced any challenge?
I think the biggest challenge has been some form of a continuation of an asymmetric information regarding a misconception that students have about entrepreneurship. They see it as this binary outcome and this mutually exclusive event, that either you are an entrepreneur or you're working a 9 to 5 career like everybody else. And I do believe that that's the wrong perspective to look at. I think that there's a lot of interdependence and skills that you can shift from these two Venn diagrams, I would presume. Even in their careers, I've seen a lot of case scenarios where entrepreneurship can be implemented, especially in the world of finance and private equity consultancy. I do want to encourage them to have a look as in more of a skill that's a dynamic and applicable to all case scenarios rather than an isolated choice.
What kind of action did you take to overcome these challenges, and what was the result?
First of all, we have to consider that we're living in an era where the young generations are suffering from this over-information. The information is everywhere out there in the internet. So I did take a step back to realize that it's not advice or essentially information that they're looking for. It's the process of applying that information in execution.
If I were to ask you to compare yourself before joining Warwick Enterprise, I want to know how did this experience help you grow?
It has definitely helped me in the ways that I did not think it will. I've realized how important perception over perspective is. I think one soft skill that I've developed is putting myself in the other party's shoes and then realizing why they're thinking that way. That is something that it's always overlooked when you are working in an intense environment. So I try to implement that methodology as much as I can in order to give them the most effective solution or even predict what they might have if I would put myself in their position.
So did you kind of find out this while you're reflecting on your achievement and personal development?
Yes, it's something that I've noticed, and this is the thing, I guess, it's the opportunity cost of our decisions. It's our biggest regret. And I've realized that I should have probably done this in the past quite a lot. I would have probably ended up with much better outcomes.
What would be the best piece of advice that you would like to give to peer students?
No matter which career path you choose, if it's the 9 to 5s, if it's the entrepreneurship, always make sure you are a person who people can count on. You're always showing up, and prioritize giving value first. Do not have that short-term mindset thinking of being driven by the reward. I've seen that that is not really sustainable in terms of longevity of career. People who prioritize just providing value first and making sure that they become people who you can count on, problem solvers. I've noticed that students with those characteristics have actually quite often exponential growth in their career. And my second advice is, typically the most frequent question is, when is the best time to become an entrepreneur? And I always say yesterday. So it's not even essentially the best time. It's do it immediately, start immediately. You will be put into this environment of intense pressure, which will force you to grow in ways that you cannot comprehend.
Can you please elaborate on the timing?
So I'm going to bring a bit of Warren Buffett here. So coming back to that point of opportunity cost, I think the biggest losses are not the decisions that we make and lose, or the decisions that we don't make. And those losses are actually incurring, but we're not considering them because we never made the decision. So the opportunity cost, it's a big thing, especially in the world of business. And starting now and failing a lot and learning will give you a much better deal than considering the opportunity cost of not starting at all and waiting for the perfect timing.
I think I kind of agree with you. Now is the perfect time because you don't have other extra responsibilities on your shoulders. So you can actually have this time to dedicate in the career or the project that you actually want, and you will be much happier later in life. But my other concern is, am I ready though at this time? Because I don't have the experience that I built in the society or business or professional setting, right? I'm just a student. Am I ready? Can I be successful? And I know this is kind of the time that I should start, but I'm kind of afraid to tap in.
That's actually the biggest trend that I've seen with students, being afraid to start, questioning their skills, their capabilities. I definitely agree with the part that you want to start now, in the sense that you have the biggest capacity to take risks because you do not have a lot of responsibilities. So early 20s, it's kind of the stage in which a lot of people think that you should take the most amount of risk. When it comes to benchmarking your skills and your experience, that is a relative measure. The more I learn about my industry, the more skills I acquire, the more you see that there are more advanced techniques and better ways into solving a problem. However, starting does not necessarily mean that you have to be perfect at it. As long as you can provide some form of value. And in entrepreneurship, the beauty of the paradox is that will be benchmarked by the market. If you provide something valuable, somebody is willing to buy that. That's how you know that actually your thing works. And if it does, then that's a good start. If it doesn't, then all the skills that you've learned up to the journey where you failed will still compensate for the time that you've spent attempting to become an entrepreneur. And then again, you can try something else and iterate.
I think you're right. It will never be enough. So we'll have to overcome our fears and tap into this. Another thing that you mentioned is that to be market centric, and then also like observe and watch how effective it was, and then you can adjust your action along the way and be better and better, right? So that's very inspiring. I think all of the students will feel the same. And thank you for your time and being very honest and sharing your real story here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And yes, please, just encouraging all the students out there, please do apply to the graduate program, and feel free to reach out to us either through the university, either coming down to Warwick Innovation District or LinkedIn. We're always here to help you and support you on any ideas, or even if you're just interested in learning more about entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
Thank you.